But there's something else that does destroy people, swallows them whole, and it's from outer space, everybody. It's coming back to your TV or your screen very soon, and that's The Blob. The Blob is coming back for a remake again. And I know, like, I was on a podcast with Lexi before called Three Demers, her podcast. I was over there with her and Kate Jacob. We were talking about the Blob, all these remakes they've had. 1958 version came out with Steve McQueen. We had the 1988 version with Chuck Russell and starred Kevin Dillon and Shawnee Smith. That was my favorite one. That's fucking awesome. But this one is coming a remake by Warner Brothers Discovery. Moving forward, David Goyer and Keith Levine are doing this from Phantom 4. And right now it's being directed by David Bruckner. And he actually directed The Ritual, The Night House, 2022's Hellraiser, and also the total copy segment of VHS 1980 or 85, I should just say. So he did all those. So he's coming forward. He's done a lot of horror stuff before, and they're going to remake it now. They're not saying complete plot details, but of course it's probably the same as the Blob before. You got this gelatinous blob comes out from outer space, crashes, and starts sucking people's life by swallowing them, engulfing them, and killing them, and absorbing them. So I'm guessing that's where you get pretty much like that. The Blob, honestly, the 88 version is still with the practical effects. It was amazing for me to do this again now. The 58 one was good, but it was, for me, it's, you can tell it's dated, but the 88 one just killed it with the horror. This one, I'll be interested to see how they do it nowadays. Maybe they'll go too far, maybe they won't, but it is moving forward. They're going to do one in 2009 too with Rob Zombie, but that one fell through too. This one is moving forward. The Blob is coming, everybody. Get ready for it. What do you think about the Blob? Rachel, what do you think? Are you excited for the Blob? Paul wants to get in there. Paul, are you excited for the Blob?
I'm just excited. I'm so excited for this because but Rachel, go first. Go first.
Rachel, what do you think about Blob coming back?
I think it could be interesting. I think if it's well done, another sort of creature monster movie might be a lot of fun. We've been really kind of focusing really hard on ghosts and slashers these last, bit. So I think having something like the Blob is just fun. It's just a fun thing.
You think they'll go even more serious with this and try to make it even more graphic?
Silly. Oh, they probably will. That's great. Just have a big old gelatinous thing scooping people up. What's not to love? As long as they do it well, I think it could go really badly, though. I think they could really fuck it up.
They could very easily fuck it up.
If they do it well, I'm excited. If they really fuck it up, I'm not here for it.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea, and I kept going back and forth in my brain about it when I heard this, and I was like, why not? It's been a while since we did this thing again. Of course, we're always reaching in and finding that good eye penis and making it new again, but I think this might be the right time, right place, right? Lobby for that eye penis. Paul, what do you think, man? I know you're getting excited about it. I know Lexi's excited too, but Paul, what do you think about it? So you excited for the Blob to come back in 2024?
Yeah, so the director, Bruckner, is also the director of The Ritual, The Night House, and the new Hellraiser, which I all loved. I thought they were amazing. So that gets me more excited. I already love the Blob movie. I'm actually wanting to rewatch the 88 one. It gave me nightmares when I was a kid, and I can't wait to see it again. I really think it could be something special, especially with this director helming it. And I think under anyone else, I'd be like, oh, great, the Blob. But, it could go either way. If you watch those movies, I think you'll get a good idea that this guy, he knows what he's doing. And he wouldn't take on this project unless he had a good story. So I'm excited for this, and I want to see some gross shit happen. That's what I want. I like the new Hellraiser. I'm sorry, Arian, I love the new Hellraiser. So
I thought it was good.
I haven't seen it, but yeah, this is like, it could be like quite the horror movie, especially nowadays for them. And it could go into a whole trilogy maybe too. They might go crazy with the Blob nowadays. This is an opportunity, I think, for Warner Brothers. They're looking for new blood, new stuff. Lexi, we did the whole thing. We went back and forth about all the Blob movies before. Now we're getting a new one, so I have to do another whole conversation about it when this comes out. I have to watch all the Blob movies, see which one's the best. But are you excited about the Blob coming back? I know we talked about this earlier. Are you excited though? Do you want to see it? Or you think this is the right time, right place for the Blob? Or should we have left it in the past and forgot about it forever?
Well, there's a lot to look at with it. It's in the right time period. It's okay. It's not too long. It's, that remake was in the 80s. It's, 2024. I think your time frame is good. So if you want to fuck with it, go for it. I think that after COVID, I think the idea, whereas if you follow the plot of the 80s one, the concept is they take a virus, they take an amoeba, essentially, they put it inside a meteorite, they fire it up into space, and they send it around and see how they can mutate it and send it back to Earth to create like a bioweapon, right? Like that's the plot of the 80s one.
Yeah.
And so in that context, you could look at the COVID stuff and you could look at the viral weapon stuff and you could be like, what were we doing? And then, the blob, And so there is kind of like a possibility of being able to incorporate some modern shit that we're dealing with into that if you wanted to, some subtext. If you don't want to go that route and you just want to, go hard with it, I think our CG is finally at a level that doing a blob effect in this day and age will look really good with CG and a combination of practical and CG. It's not going to have that, seam that we got in like the 2000s to the 2010s era. I think we're really at a nice point right now where we can get some nice seamless CG and practical, which this film will
I'd
require.
love to see a fully practical blurb.
There's no way, and I'm gonna say, like, as funny as it sounds, like, I think CG is really gonna help the blob really maximize the gore. You really want this, like, don't get me wrong, I love the 80s one, and anybody who knows me knows that this was like an obsession for me. Like, this is one of my all-time favorite films, like all time. I had the poster for it. This was an obsession for me, but it's one of those things where I think that you can up the ante on this with like a really good dosage of CG and practical if you can combine it together just right, because we're really at the point we can do it well, but you got to do it right. Like you give it to like I said, the right person, the right people, like it'll look excellent. And like I fully believe that a nice melding of the two will make this movie like the best. But we needed to get to here. It's like you gotta have the Cameron effect. Like I couldn't make Avatar just when the effects weren't there yet, right? I had to make it now. You can't make the blob then. You had to wait until Avatar got made, so you could take the Avatar effects and make the blob. So now,
James
now,
Cameron
now
Studios
there,
with
Get
the
James
blob.
Cameron on this.
So like now that we've
James
got
Cameron
that
there.
effect, so now that we know that what we can do with blue screen and green screen and CG and all this kind of shit, and what we're able to white screens and all these brown screens and all, you know what I mean? Like we're so capable with our CG now that we know a level of color grading that we've never done before and all this kind of stuff. Like imagine what we can do with the blob.
Purple
I
straight.
genuinely feel like we're a peak with our effects, with our CG and our practical, that this movie could be fucking mind-blowing given to the right person. But it's got to be given to the right person.
Yeah, it has to go to the right hands. And it sounds like this guy knows what he's doing, too. That's the director, Bruckner. And if he's got that idea and they mix that practical effects with the special effects, it could be good. Again, we're at a different time now in the world where the special effects are a lot better, you're right, than they used to be. In the 80s, you had to go all practical. And that was actually made movies awesome a lot of times. But if you were able to make the blob, like if you use some of that practical stuff with them inside there, but also the way the blob, I mean, you look at the end when the blob gets bigger and bigger and bigger, it doesn't hold up as much the special effects in the 80s version, but now you can make it even better. We can be pretty fucking awesome.
Why do you like the 80s one more than the 50s one? It's the up the ante, right?
They up the ante huge. They do.
So it's kind of like The Thing.
We can up the ante again, though. Like,
right, Paul.
The thing is that all that made the 80s blob better than the 50s blob was that we had peaked in practical effects. In the time period that it was made was the absolute peak. Like we were not able to go any further with practical effects. That was the start of CG, right? Like that was when we start getting Lucas playing around with CG and things like that. So we're peaking. We're about to start the revolution of CG. This is it. 80s is like the peak of practical. So all of our stuff is at like its height. So the 50s one is like a schlock film, and someone said, you know what, I'd love to see that, but with like the best effects that we can possibly do. And that's what somebody did. And now here we are again. Great. And you know what you do? You look at that and you go, that movie was the best that we could possibly do with effects that we had at the time. Let's do it again with the best that we have at the time.
And
that's
Kevin
Dillon,
Dillon,
that's what the blob should be every time.
Kevin Dillon.
Every time you make it,
cutting edge blob technology.
That's what the blob is. It's an effects spectacle. That's all it should ever be, is an effect.
I don't want it. Yeah, I just don't want it to have any like face or be
No,
something
never.
that has
It's
a
a
knowledge
blob.
of the.
A
It's a blob.
personality.
It has
It's a blob.
no
Don't let
personality.
it
It's
start
just
turning into things and stuff. That would be
yeah.
so weird. Like,
I
that
loved
would
I
just be
loved
stupid.
somebody said through the chat about it being compared to COVID. I think that's a perfect analogy for it. I think it's not doing it on any purpose. It just exists to devour, and I think that's great. I want to see
Yeah.
that. Yeah, and
I love
the
that idea.
remakes thing with the Thing was a perfect example of that. And they actually did another remake of the Thing, but it was kind of a prequel a couple of years ago. You
Son of
remember that
Blob?
one? What's
Oh
that?
no, I said
Son of
Son of
Blob.
Blob, but that was
Son of the.
confused.
So, no, it's like
Son of Blob.
I was just
You
making a
son of a
comparison.
blob.
You son of a blob. I was making a comparison to the Thing being a remake of the Thing from the black and white era. It's kind of the same with the Blob. They made a remake from the black
Yeah.
and white era. Yeah, and
The Fly is
they-
another good one.
the Fly.
that,
I
like,
love The
That's
Fly.
another
It's a
one.
good
Those-
movie.
Those
I
are
mean,
two
the-
completely different films, though. The Fly has
Goldblum,
nothing
kicking
to
some
do with
ass.
No, I'm
the
just saying it's a
first one.
horror genre thing that they do. It's kind of a trope that they remake horror films from the black and white era and
Yeah.
update them. So I feel like that's kind of what they're doing. Another one, Dracula, Bram Stoker's Dracula. Yeah, it's just great. If it make it good. That's all I ask.
Right.
Yeah, make it good. I agree. I agree
Give us some
100%.
good quality Blob.
Blob
good
action.
Blob.
Give us all the Blob.
A
Like,
high
you know,
quality Blob.
high quality Blob, less corniness, more Blob, more butts in the seats, and you know, more freaking good death scenes. That's all I want. Bring Kevin Dillon back for me. Why not? Come on, guys. Give me it back. I want him back. I don't know. Maybe the Blob comes back or some shit. I don't know. It'd probably be a whole new different thing. Start all over again.
Timothy
That's how we're gonna do it.
Charlemagne.
It's fine who it's gonna be. It'll be Charlemagne, or maybe we'll get, you know, I'll take Dave.
Charlemagne up in
Show
there.
Dave in there. Dave can fight the Blob. Hell yeah, Dave, get the Blob. I don't know. We'll probably get Charlemagne. We'll get like Zac Efron or somebody. I don't know. But overall, I think that this could be good, and I think that it's a good opportunity. Like we're saying now, special effects have gone quite a bit up. We got Avatar, got blue people swimming on freaking Navi and then doing all that shit in the fucking blue world. But so maybe we can do the Blob right now. So hopefully we can. And honestly, I think it's a good idea. And I think Warner Brothers will make a lot of money on it. I think they will. Hopefully it does well. Hopefully it's better than the 80s one. I don't know. You got some hard shoes to fill there, Warner Brothers. Make it good. And I can't wait to see what happens. The Blob is coming. The remake is coming.
Yo, player, thanks for watching the video. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe and hit the bell to be notified when we are live. And if you are able to join our Patreon, please join. Because the Pep Star needs more snickety snacks. Because I'm hungry. Holla back. Love y'all.